Hello friends, my current location is in Wuoyang, Henan. It's 7:20 p.m. In today's video, I will mainly talk to you about the culture of Wuoyang. Everyone knows Liuoyong. He is one of the ancient readings of the 8 dynasties. Its historical status in ancient reading is also very important. Wuoyang has more than 5,000 years of civilization. There are also nearly 4,000 years of controversies, 1,500 years of reading. Take a look at the ancient reading. The status is also very high. Still in China, helping to choose is very important. All of them have had an impact on Shenzhen. His culture too. Very national. The first is Luoyang's fire culture. There are friends who have traveled to Wuoyang. The factory cried when it melted the white horse door. Included in the flyaway cannot be a big coffee. White moss. He was born in the 68th year of the Common Era. Go has only been nearly 1,000 years old. Baimashi is the only one in the world who has moved to China. Electricity-free India, Thailand, the only coke master of multinational culture. Lamist is still a scorched boat road, the first Siyuan established after China. He also has the active aura of a dragon queen. In addition to enlivening the culture, Liuoyong, he still has the queen of the dragon. Among the ancient names of Luoyang's history, Luo is also known as the divine governor. At that time, who was in the Tang period, China's political, economic, and cultural center. He compared Luoyang to Chang. The degree of the land of Xinzhou, therefore, Luoyang was also made a god. During the Shui Tang period, Luoyang was poor. The starting point of the stone road and the center of the economic, cultural, and religious disciplines of the country. Liuoyong is very developed on his side. From the western regions as well as some countries in Asia and Europe. They also came to Luoyang to conduct the teachings of the 3 Luoyang people and the personnel. Therefore, the surrounding culture of Ruoyang is also very thick. In addition to the surrounding culture, if it's Yang, it is a very business trip with nuclear culture, too. Everyone knows the gold plate light rain core. In fact, the water is light and the rain core. It is in the North and South Korea waybills in our country. It also plays an important role. It is wanted by Ruoyang in the flat realm, evening air, and Jiangnan water transport. To the north, you can roll to Beijing. To the south, you can go to the Great Voyage boat. It is also a combination of treatment with the surprise flight, a transport that awakens north-south traffic. At the same time, it is still half a year. The role of a Korean Yun type in the West and the West. Therefore, in Luoyang, its Yunha culture is also very profound. In Luoyang this morning, he lives in the Changhe district of Luoyang. In addition to the above 3 cultures, Luoyang, his side is the most melting. Or the most important culture is the Zhou culture. Zhou culture, he is also a historical lunchbox that has influenced China for 3,000 years. He had to mention it, because the character is Zhou Gong. Therefore, everyone in Zhou Gong may be more confused. The only thing that may be understood is the weekly work program. Many people think that Zhou Gong is a kind of artist, or he is hanging. In fact, Zhou Gongjian's earliest source came from Gongzi. Child, his man, talked to Zhou Gong in a dream. He is also poor, and he uses his dream inspection of Zhou Gong to reward his own school hours. He is in communication with Zhou Gong. That week, he was with Su Lunyan. Zhou Gonghe married people. He is the king of Zhou. He is also the underground of Zhou Wenkafa. He is the uncle of King Zhou Cheng. Zhou Gonghe is an intern in Shizhou. Only the great politician died at home. He is in the history of our country. In development and inheritance, the resulting wish to come, except for the red and purple bar mentioned on the surface. 500 years after the week of labor. He even gave birth to some ideas that influenced wages. Zhougong is also known as Yuansheng. He is also a pioneer of the Liu family. That's why he put forward some of the hours and thoughts. He also had an impact on the development of history. It's not Zhougong. He's also a military strategist. He used to help his father and his brother. Twice begged. Flash crinkled Bing. He also contributed to the establishment of the Zhou dynasty. It's great when the stallion comes back. After the death of King Gu, his sons became kings. At that time, he was still young. Therefore, the Duke of Zhou also organized the work of the king. I grew up for 7 years. During these 7 years, he also contributed to the development of the Zhou dynasty. It has the effect of turning around, and it is great to come back. At the end of his work, his greatest contribution can be attacked in the following areas. The first is the Sino-French and Liu systems that he will search. He made an immortal core that was also innovative. It was in the Mia period at that time. The succession of the Son of Heaven is based on the use of sons or brothers. That is, after the Son of Heaven, his throne can be inherited to his son or his brother. But he has a kind of shortness. It is wishful thinking that generates value added. Then his brother will be dissatisfied. The same inheritance of this system. He was caused to be in turmoil. So when the Duke of Zhou was after his 5 kings, Duke Zhou did not hesitate to become the king as the Son of Heaven. At that time, King Cheng was still young. So he established a succession system for the Bizhan system. The establishment of his succession. He also survived to influence the next 3,000 years. A heritage horse of the Wind Arrow Society. Don't set Liu with him. It is a reflection of the whole society. So he has to do something of his own. Come and count the actions of people. What were the main Liu at that time? For example, we talked about the 6th edition of the Price of the Son of Heaven earlier. The Son of Heaven is a direct proof of the rational numbers of the Zhou dynasty at that time. The Son of Heaven can add 6 horses. The other Zhuo stars are 4 generations and so on. They can build the U. In addition to the level of travel to the score. He is still in Liu. It's just the right side. The more right or angry. He is a trap tool for the rulers. If he appreciates the island of Ho or the Shou, he can ask one of the 8 Gonglu to relieve. Then the other princes and big cities will not work. Like Xu Hao, he may only have 6 male Lu. Then Xin's words may be 4 or 2 at a time. Therefore, this degree of Noble Mountain is very strict. The establishment of the degree of law in the month of Zhou and his level. He was also a comrade who ignored the Zhou dynasty. In addition to this, the gray wind system of the Zhou Palace Hijiji. It encourages development at the table and at the local level. It thus took the art of strengthening the centralization. Zhou Palace, in addition to the development of the Zhou dynasty. Outside of some of its ideological aspects, it also deeply influenced the later period. It asserts that poetry can be proven. It was not later Confucius' home. The establishment of the snow school also played an allied role. There is also a sentence of current drama. I talked about blessings. It's the Tonka type of the dynasty. I've read about it in our junior high school textbooks. It is also the representative seat of the dynasty. The last two sentences of the Tonka type are mentioned. 3 is no longer high. Zhou Gongtafu returned to the stars. What do these two sentences mean? He can be like Zhou Gong by himself. Frame Hong took Li Xianfeng City. Then the sporadic of the world. It can be used by him. So in that sense, Zhou Gong in order to follow his human body. Not very much praiseworthy. Zhou Gong is another of his greatest contributions. He can say that Wuoyang came from our domestic later culture. Zhou Gong, Taipei, Zhoutao, 17, especially in the city built on the side of Wuoyang. Zhou Gong contributed to the completion and fall of art in Wuoyang. Everyone knows that Wuoyang and his village gods don't become Ruai. It was in front of the park in 039. That is, the King of Friday, for 4 and 9 kings. The political center of the time was actually recorded in Yugishi. Then Zhou Gong went to Luoyang to intimidate them. He felt that the geographical location of Luoyang was close to the group garden area. It is also a core area of the group garden culture. Like a nuclear table unearthed by flash breath protection, you can hide from that. The nuclear table is lightly tied to his base. The guest is made of material China is roughly. China refers to Luoyang at that time because it was the political, economic, and cultural center of the country at that time. In fact, it is recorded in the Guangzhou area, like Qin and Baoji. These are all areas that belong to the traditional Guangzhou area. Then establish the words of reading on the Luoyang side. He put the Chinese culture. Anthorns were transferred from Guangzhou to Zimlian area. He is a stringer for Zhongyang culture. Made a very big contribution. At the same time, Zhou Gong was the first. A thinker who proposed to build a city. His Buddhism is hundreds of years older than Europe. He is a distribution from the grid of bad strong. Therefore, Zhou Gong is just a weak tooth. He has made a great contribution to traditional culture. He's also an amazing character. Zhou Gonghui's weak teeth. He is also a spiritual and ordinary blue law of the promotion law. That friend's video about Luoyang's Chinese. Well, be here, and we'll see you in the next video.